How you doing, Jerry?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing
That
great.
was fun.
Playing blues, my favorite thing.
Blues is fun.
Right on.
It is fun.
Right on. Oh, so how you been?
I have been really good, and how have you been? Don't
Well,
lose
I'm
your
caught
health.
all up in the mic here, but other than that, I'm fine. Let's see. Accessories are everything, but sometimes they do get in the way.
Sometimes they do.
Well, we're here to talk about some blues, I do believe.
We are. We're going to talk about a little bit of the history of the blues.
We are.
And maybe give a few examples here and there, and maybe jam out on a few blues classics that have a direct link to what we're going to be talking about.
I can do that stuff for hours,
Yeah.
and I think we're going to.
So what do you think the best place to start would be? I'd say Delta blues.
I think the beginning, which is going to be some Delta blues.
Yeah.
We're just going to kind of do a hodgepodge here of styles of
Yes.
Charlie Patton and a bunch of different guys that he taught. Tommy Johnson and Ishman Bracey, and right on up to the early. He had an impact on everybody. He still does, but
Yes.
I know that Muddy Waters was influenced by him and took a lot of that influence to Chicago with him. And I'm just going to kind of do a couple of 12-bar things and just give us kind of a sense of what Delta Blues was
Yes.
like in those early days.
I know Charlie Patton was a real showman too, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he
played the guitar behind his back. Maybe that's where Jimi Hendrix got the idea.
I think so. I think there was
Yeah.
there's a lineage of showmanship.
Yeah.
And there's too many microphones around, as I've already demonstrated, so I'm not going to be going crazy like that. But yeah, Charlie Patton started or was influenced by other people to probably do the showmanship thing.
Yes.
But people referred to him as a clowning
Yes.
guy with a guitar, but he could really put on a show. And then you got T-Bone Walker, who took some of that stuff. and
Yes.
Guitar Slim, and
Right.
and it trickled on down to Hendrix and
Right.
Stevie Ray and who's ever the top dog now. So
Yes. Yes.
But there was in 1903, of course. I think a lot of people know this, but there was a gentleman by the name of W.C. Handy who was down in the
Yes.
deep south of Mississippi, and he was a school musician from the north, and he was an African American, but he he knew his theory. He was a band leader of
Yes.
big bands and stuff, and he heard a gentleman, another African American, sit on a bench in a train station and play some Delta blues, and he said it was the wildest music he ever heard. It was really different sounding. It was strange, he
Yes,
thought.
yes.
And but he notated it, the sound of it, and he went back and started doing. He was the, what would you say, the one of the practitioners of big city blues. He got it with
Yes.
with a band going and stuff. But
Yes.
before bands, there was no 12-bar blues.
Right.
There was
Right.
there was everything but a 12-bar blues. That
Yes.
wasn't standardized yet.
Yes.
And what you got is a lot of old traditions that came to be born in blues in the late 1800s.
Yes.
And so anyway, it might turn out 12-bar, it might not.
Right.
But I don't know, what's the metric system have to do with this anyway. But we'll just play and see how
All
it
right.
feels and stuff. So at the same time as the Delta Blues stuff was happening, there was also a lot of that influence from some of the Texas guys.
Right.
And you got Lightning Hopkins and people like that. So that was a hodgepodge of just early
Yes.
stuff that came to influence a lot of players.
Yes.
And you got your chord, you got different chord forms happening there, like seventh style
Right.
chord forms.
And that's carried on even to this present day. I mean, most blues is written with
Exactly.
seventh chords.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those are movable forms.
Yes.
And I would imagine how a lot of those guys went on, like Blind Lemon Jefferson. He soloed out of chord patterns.
Yes.
They didn't think in scales. They were soloing out of
Right.
different finger patterns
Yes.
and stuff like that.
Yes.
So yeah, we've got that early Texas style and Delta.
And I
Delta
believe
style.
a Son House studied directly with Charlie Patton, didn't he?
He traveled with them and recorded
Yeah.
with them, and
Yeah.
there was a big deal going on there.
Yeah. And he in turn influenced a number of blues
Oh,
musicians
yeah,
along the way.
all the way
and-
up to Derek
and still
Trucks
does
now,
even.
and
Yeah,
Sonny
yeah,
Landreth,
yeah.
and
Yeah, it's
and
pretty
especially
amazing.
Muddy Waters was very influenced by him. You had a lot of influence by both of those guys, Charlie Patton and Son House, on Robert Johnson, of course. And,
Yes.
So I mean, if you're looking at kind of that dead thumb kind of
Yes.
finger style of things
Yes.
going on, but they also use slide, which we were
Correct.
we were kind of playing in that first tune.
Correct,
But
correct.
I'll switch guitars and we'll get into
Yes.
into a bit of slide.
Yes,
here.
sure. Yeah.